David Solomon. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern. You think about it, we rant about it. Listen to us live on Facebook.
Take two.
Yeah, look at that. A false start. We hope we're up live properly. But then again, the wonderful world of the internet crashes on us. You know what, David? Colin Kaepernick. We've ranted about this clown on more than one occasion. We've spoken about his comparing the NFL draft to a slavery market. We've compared him as a woke song idiot wannabe hero. And now it seems like his bank account doesn't look so good. So
Oh,
maybe
bank
maybe
account looks fine. Don't
it
go there.
does. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Well, then what do you got to talk about? Let me hear.
Okay, so let's start from the very, very beginning, folks. Colin Kaepernick is a name that may or may not mean anything to you. Okay, he's an former NFL quarterback who decided on his own to single-handedly start what eventually became all these movements towards, let's call it Black Lives Matter and what have you. He did bring attention to some social injustices towards the African American community. And when I'm saying he brought attention to it, is he brought attention to it, but also to him. And the problem with Kaepernick, as you've seen back a number of years ago, his decision to kneel in football games was extremely controversial. While it was an insult to the flag, an insult to the United States, an insult to many ways, his idea was, I'm going to do this because I want attention towards police brutality. The problem was the criticism that was thrusted at Kaepernick by his detractors was not that there should have been attention. It was the manner in which it was done. The attention was on Kaepernick. The attention was on the kneeling and not on the cause. And when he needed to be omnipresent and others needed to be present in protests, at police stations or whatever, conspicuously absent. Now, Nike decided that Colin Kaepernick was a worthwhile athlete to throw their money behind him and talk about him as being a hero. Netflix, in fact, decided that he was such a great hero that they did a great special about Colin Kaepernick. But all the while, Colin Kaepernick was cut from football because the man's skill set may have been good enough, but he riled up 32 teams. And despite everything, they said this is a team game, not an individual game. And too much attention was on Colin Kaepernick. So again, Kaepernick decided that, of course, now the enemy is the NFL. And like good old woke folks, we blame. We don't look at ourselves in the mirror. We just blame. And we look for the white man, and we look for the rich, and we look to blame. Go to YouTube and look up all these videos about woke folk complaining, and you will see that the main target are always white, privileged individuals. Now, I'm sorry to say that 32 teams are owned primarily by white people. This is just the fact that it is today. Blacks are being invited to own a team, but look, at $3-4 billion evaluations, best of luck to many to try to get into this game. But the owners are white. And Kaepernick in a Netflix special decided after suing the NFL for discrimination, called the 32 owners slave owners. That players are paraded out like slaves in front of slave owners. Ladies and gentlemen, Colin Kaepernick's net worth, because Stuart's worried about his bank account. According to the most recent net worth, the guy's worth $20 million, Stuart. We're not talking about some poor schmuck over here, but we're talking about some schmuck who wants all the attention towards him. Like so many of the woke folk out there, reality finally set in. And in what way, Stuart? Nobody wants him. He wanted a starting job in the National Football League. 32 teams already said, no, thank you. We've got a guy. We're good. See ya. He went to Michigan University to try to show off his talents and show that he could do it. When he realized that no one was watching, he says, okay, I'll take any job you give me. Suddenly, Colin Kaepernick is fine with returning as a backup. I'll take any job, people. Now, I just want to be clear that a starting quarterback's average salary is $30 million annually. A backup is way less. But Mr. Woke Hero over here got something that no one thought he would get, Stuart. And I know I'm going on here, but this is important because his own supporters for years are now telling him, buddy, you screwed up. Stephen A. Smith is to me a ranting sports commentator who loves to use multi-syllable words that people just to show how intelligent he is, and he continues to spew his mouth off like some intelligentsia. But it's interesting because I disagree with him, but in this one I totally agree with him. Kaepernick, you went too far. Many of the folks who are woke like to blame white men for fucking up society. They blame white men for not having the understanding. They blame white people for everything. You sued the NFL. You criticized the slave owners, and then you beg for a job. And Stephen A. Smith, those of you who not know, is an African-American reporter on ESPN, called Kaepernick out and said, buddy, you've gone too far.
David, you've been going on for 6.5 minutes, and you're going to continue to go on, but I got to just tell you this. When we were growing up, the kid that always was annoying was an outcast, and that kid remained an outcast throughout his high school and elementary school and maybe even off to college. It took a stint out to college and disappearing into another province or state for someone to have the ability to reemerge. So I've got a real good, suggestion for Mr. Kaepernick. I think he should take up golf. I think he should hit to the golf course and see if he can become a professional golfer where his disdain and his mark and his black mark, and I'm using the word black mark, on NFL history could dissipate and disappear. And if he's a true athlete, as he claims that he is, he should have no problem entering in either professional golf or maybe even baseball. But you know what? If any owner of any NFL team actually hires him, I think they are the ones who need to be taken out because the guy is cancer. You cut cancer out, you get rid of it. He didn't bring anything good, anything positive to the sport. He brought divisiveness. He didn't bring inclusiveness. He wanted to be divisive. He wanted to break the system. And now the system says, F you, Kaepernick. And you know what? I applaud every single owner. I applaud them. I thank them. And you know what? I don't like ESPN either. But you're right. Steve is calling it the way it is. You can hide behind the woke movement or be broke, or you can get on with your life. You're part of the problem or you're part of the solution. You can't be both.
But here's the thing, Stuart, and this is what the whole point of this today is, that the folks who love to call themselves woke suddenly wake up one morning and go, oh shit, life isn't like this. I can't just go and crap on everybody and blame society for stuff that I could control or I can whatever. And that's what he did. He blamed. And you could say, no, he didn't. He was trying to, bring attention to the Black lives. And yeah, okay. But he brought the attention on himself. He wanted to blame others for misery. And if people and leaders in the Black community have stood up and said, stop blaming. I mean, have you ever watched an interview with Morgan Freeman? Morgan Freeman is tired of listening to this woke BS from these communities who continue to insist that the white man is always at fault. Listen, Colin Kaepernick did that.
They're all of these people from Hollywood that have made it and risen up above it all have pretty much the same opinion, unless they are afraid to be outspoken. Everyone's afraid of the woke movement because no one wants to deal with the kid. It's like the crazy guy in the New York subway. You don't look at him in case he wants to go off on you. And I look at the Kaepernicks of the world and the woke culture people just because of that. I don't want to look at you. I don't want to bother. I don't want to waste my breath, my air. You're not worth my time. And unfortunately, that ideology is proving not to work anymore because now they go out of their way to make themselves heard, and then they go after you. And after they know it's relentless. You know, the Israelis used to just give back all of the territory. Take them back. It's okay. You know, they were held. They were given 3 meals a day, allowed to pray. But go back home. Like, you know, go tell everyone that we're really nice people. You know, that works for so long, right? Ultimately, you got to cut them out. And you're dealing with the Kaepernicks. Cut him out. Reduce him to nothing. Let him live off his money and his woke culture. Keep him out of the freedom of the sport, because I think truly he's killing the game.
Well, Stuart, it's not just about the game, and I'll go back to the whole thing of an example of someone in the limelight, someone who is, you know, in everybody's face, and he was the poster boy for the woke movement, and he suddenly, I mean, his arrogance was it was thanks to him that the NFL is what it is today, and it is that he actually has the chutzpah to says, you know, thanks to him, he advocated for, you know, putting signs in the end zone with end racism on the back of the helmet, Black Lives Matter. You know, I mean, give me a bloody break. I mean,
sure. Is that with or without the $6 million secret purchase of a Beverly Hill mansion?
So look. Don't confuse matters. The problem is that the folks who claim to be woke and love to support guys like him, when they realize what reality is, all of a sudden they don't sound so smart. All of a sudden they don't do. I mean, here's his statement. He goes, "The NFL is supposed to be a meritocracy. Let me compete." No, sir. You see, that's the problem. You see, you know what? People are invited to compete. They're not, you just don't have a right to just walk in. Again, the woke movement believes they have a right to anything and everything that they want.
There are thousands of NFL players that never got to play that are probably 100 times better than a Kaepernick,
Stuart,
whose lives aren't so pretentious, that aren't so special and privileged, because Kaepernick's a privileged little boy.
Listen,
he's a privileged boy.
And I'm tired of listening to him go, wham, 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 I don't have a chance. Buddy, in life, you got to make your chances. You had it. You decided to go down a certain road. Sure. I mean, look, you would say that you brought attention to the Black Lives Matter movement. Maybe. Frankly, I think you did a lot of hurt. You didn't do a lot. And you said it, Stuart. You created divisiveness. You didn't create inclusion. And I don't care about signs in an end zone. And I don't care about stickers on the back of helmets. That doesn't change society.
I just want to know, is Kaepernick going to refund all those people that gave money to BLM because he said it was a good movement and he was technically a spokesperson for BLM, and all the money that I believe has been stolen by BLM on luxury vacations, luxury houses, luxury cars at his farm?
Stuart, of course he's not going to do that. But the point of the matter is, this is what woke, when they awaken from their incessant blaming and accusations. And, you know, look, I love when I hear, and there's a beautiful video, by the way, please YouTube this, about a lawyer. She just graduated. She was going to start in a law firm, and she came in late on her first day and whined like crazy that her boss, her white boss, couldn't understand that she was out the night before partying, and how dare he act like that, and that she was going to get back at him. And that's the woke movement in a nutshell. And that's what Kaepernick did. He was going to get back at the 32 owners, the NFL, and then when he wants a job, he goes, what the hell? I should be able to compete. Why aren't you inviting me? Why can't I be part of this? That's reality. And reality bites. And so those of you who are woke, wake up, because reality bites. Stuart, we're done. For this week, we're done on Wednesday, but on Friday, special guest, Sam Beard, who's going to talk, has a phenomenal topic. Please, this is a man who's advised presidents.
8
different presidents, and he's going to
Yep.
surprise you about what is one of the top problems in society today with relation to child rearing, that it starts way earlier on, and where we as a society are messing up our children for the future. Sam Beard will be joining us on Friday, noon Eastern, extended interview. Stuart, I think it's time to say goodbye.
Goodbye.